Hey, this is Barry from Sunken Mine Railroad. Um, Today I want to talk about electrical things and electronics. I'm not going to be doing a lot, but I want to be talking a lot today. So where I am right now is I've mounted all of the electrical components on the track. I've got three different categories of electronics. The first one is turnouts, which are the snap Märklin turnouts. Second one is the blocks, which are the sidings. I've got 6 sidings, and then I've got the uncouplers. The fourth thing actually is all the accessories, which are the buildings. So these are where they all land on the layout, and I have marked all of them with numbers that correspond with the layout itself. This is where planning is really, really important, because if you start down one path or another, and you get about halfway through and you realize that your plans don't make any sense, it creates time and cost challenges. So first thing that I did was I printed the layout reverse and backwards so it would line up with the back of the layout. And then I have one page for the turnouts, one page for the power requirements, and one page for the uncouplers. The buildings really just all connect together. They're not really something that requires a lot of electronics to power. So the original layout was very simple. When my dad made it, it was really just 2 zones. It was the outer loop and the inner loop, and all of the sidings and everything ran off the inner loop transformer, and then the outer loop transformer would run the locomotive in the outer loop. And you used to have to kind of synchronize the power controls to get it to go from one section to another. So I've been looking at the possibility of creating different block zones for the different loops, so I can continuously run one locomotive. If you look at the layout, there's really 3 conditions for the layout. First condition is the inside and the outside. Second condition is you have kind of an expanded loop where you're going down partly the inside and then partly the outside. And the third condition is where you're running the inside loop, but you have this sort of section near the station where you might want to park a train. So there's 2 switches, turnouts, that you could sort of bypass, like a bypass siding, where you could have 2 locomotives parked at the station and then another third locomotive that sort of runs around. So looking at the way I want to set this up, I'm probably going to go to some sort of simplified block control. Here's condition 1. So the common area on this layout is really this center section right here, and I'll put up a better picture of this, but it's really where I might want to park a passenger locomotive while the other trains run around it. And in addition, you could have loops going and then also move things around on the sidings. So without getting super complex, the locomotives are 10 volt. Transformer really is 11 volts variable, and then it's also 11 volts not variable for the other accessories. The uncouplers are 10 volts, and then the snap switches are also 12 volt. So one of the things that I found on the internet was something called touch toggles. They're made by a company called Barrett Hill, and I met the owner of the company, Kevin Hunter, at the Massachusetts Springfield Train Show, and he makes these things called touch toggles, which are capacitive touch control sensors that you mount under a picture frame. I'll post a link, but he's got some relays, and what I've decided to do is Märklin's setup really has to do with these block electronics, where you connect the wires to these little plugs, and then you push them into here, and you create your connections that way, which are, I think, decent, and I might use them for something. But having said that, I think that these relays are really cool because they're going to allow me to have capacitive controls, and it'll keep me from having to label everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open one of these up and show you how they work. He has two different styles. He's got the snap action bases, and there are also relay bases, and they come in sets of 2 and 4. So what I'll do is I'll open these up, I'll put the layout back down, and then I'll connect these to one circuit and show you how they work. But I don't have the materials to finish them today. It's going to be a little bit of work. Plus, I'm not really able to build a cabinet. I was kind of hoping that by now I would have like a really nice table built for this layout. I'm just not able to get the materials that I need to make the table for this. So I'm going to focus on the layout, and then eventually this will all be dropped into a custom sort of end table that I'm going to make that'll drop down in, and I'll build a glass cover for it. So I've got the touch toggles and the relays hooked up to, and what I'm going to operate is just one track turnout and one uncoupler. These are the relays right here. I guess I'm going to have to get a close-up shot of them, but they're very modular. They plug in together, and they operate on 12 volts. So for the snap action base, the actual relay provides power for the snap tracks, and for the relay base, you can put any power up to 24 volts through it. I'm going to run the transformer, the Märklin 9 volts for the uncoupler. So I'm just going to do one circuit each. So when you plug it in, there's a diode that shows you that it's on, and then you can plug in the touch toggles. The touch toggles come in two varieties. They come in these are green red, and they also have ones that have side-by-side LEDs, but I wanted it to cycle from green to red. So once I plug these in, they light up. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I guess you can. And then when you hit it, it turns red and the switch throws. It's really that easy. So I'll show a close-up video of that. And so when I plug the two relays together, they consign me. So this eventually is going to be drilled and mounted on the back of the layout, and each accessory is going to go into this. I think it's going to be insanely easy. I probably won't even need to bring out my soldering gun, which is something I was planning on doing a lot of soldering, and all of a sudden I don't have to do any. So this is the Momentary Contact, and again, this one lights up yellow. You can see that. And then when you hold this down, it indicates there's an LED in the board that indicates that something's happening, and then you can see that the uncoupler is going up and down. As long as I hold my finger on this, it stays up. The other thing that these relays can do is you can actually use the regular touch toggle on the relay, and if you want to provide power to a block siding, you can run the variable transformer through this relay, and then when there's 100% duty cycle, so when it's now this power energized, then it'll just stay on power. So let's say I want to power an entire section of this track. I can turn the train to 100, transformer to 100, and then turn the block off and on, and then that power will run through the relay to the track. So I've been drawing some diagrams of how this is going to work. I'm going to need six of these momentary contact toggles for the uncouplers. I'm going to need 6 power blocks to power the various sidings, and then I'm going to need another 9 for the turnouts. Now, one of the other things that this system has is it can actually, one of these switches can power 2 or 3 different items and relays, so you can get really creative like Lego. And what I'm going to do is there's 3 turnouts that are paired. this one, and this one, they're pairs or pair of turnouts, and I'm gonna power them on the same relay circuit. So when I hit this one, it will automatically power 2 turnouts. So here it is. It's on the siding, and then it's back on the main line. So when I'm all done, one of the things that I didn't mention was I've started to work on what this could look like. These are all the touch toggles. I've done this in Adobe Illustrator, and these are what the control panel is going to look like under the glass. I'm going to continue to work on it till it looks a little bit more professional. But this, you're not going to see these big areas, but I had to leave areas for these control switches. So this is sort of under the glass, and then what's going to happen is I am going to create a control panel like this. It'll be one transformer, a second transformer, and there'll be a piece of glass here. And then this will be in a drawer. So you'll pull the drawer out, you'll get the 2 transformers, and then you'll get this layout that will have all of these touch toggles on it. So if you want this block to work, you'll touch that. And the way it was described to me, if you go to their website, is that these will mount under the glass, and then as you need them, you won't see this whole area, but you'll just see the LEDs sort of going through the paper like that. So you can see that. So that's where I am right now. I'm going to work on some of the electronics, get them where I want them to be, and then start to assemble this, and then after that I'll start to build the houses. So thanks a lot for watching, and be safe out there. Take care.